Golden State, but he's not nearly as important or nearly as good.
I think he is.
Kawhi. I think he's important, but he's not as important as Kawhi Leonard
Well,
is for the Spurs.
When they beat the Cavs 2 years ago in the NBA Finals, he was the MVP of the Finals.
Right, because he is kind of necessary for
because he's that two-way player.
LeBron.
He plays offense, he plays defense.
Yeah.
If this were football, I'm sure he'd be special teams.
With this matchup, I think they don't really need that as much. And now they have Durant, who is pretty difficult to stop, and will give them, I think, that edge. So
I typically would agree with you, except I don't think that the Warriors are necessarily any better with him. I don't think there's a drop-off without him.
There was an absolute drop-off.
Oh, no. Yeah, they lost 2 games. And then
but look at the stats. Their stats went way down without him. His scoring is out of this world. If anyone needs to step up right now, it's Clay. Clay has looked sloppy.
But that's okay, because if any of them look sloppy, that's perfectly fine.
Scoring power, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think,
regardless of losing one of their top players, they're going to be just fine. There's not going to be a drop-off.
There wasn't a drop-off in the regular season as far as winning percentage, but there was an absolute drop-off in their stats, in their shooting percentage, and in their margins of victory.
See, I understand that, but this is where I think you and I also might disagree. I don't think stats matter. I think the only thing that matters are wins. A lot of people look into stats. I think that...
Tell that to the Capitals, who had all those wins, and the Penguins were statistically better and came out on top.
Okay, but then also look at it. The Capitals were statistically going to win because Crosby was out and then they lost. I don't think stats matter. Stats mean absolutely nothing to me except for awards. When it comes to wins, because stats will only show you what you want to see from them. They don't show you the full story. Let's say, for example, the Carolina Panthers, when they went to the Super Bowl. Statistically, they weren't that great. They had all those wins. Statistically, Cam Newton was the only good player. Cam Newton can't be the only great player to get you to a Super Bowl. You got to have other players with you.
But even if that's your argument with wins, they still had, in Durant's, not very long absence, they still had more losses than would be typical.
Okay, yeah, but when you say typical, you're talking about a historically great team. Talking about the best team in the history of the NBA. So,
well, with the best team in the history of the NBA, lost in the finals.
That's perfect example right there. Statistically best team in the NBA.
By win percentage is what you're talking about, though. That's where your statistically best team is.
And shooting. Steph Curry set a record for number of threes.
But with your wins matter. They're the winningest team in NBA history last year,
but they didn't win when it mattered. And also, I'm going to put a little asterisk next to that because Draymond Green really lost it. That if Draymond Green didn't get suspended, they would have won, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
There's no way to know, so there's no point hashing it out.
Anyways.
But I still have to say that Kawhi is way more important to the Spurs, especially now that their backcourt's a little thin without Parker.
Tony Parker, yeah. Well, the Patty Mills, has been...
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Little Aussie, he's pretty good.
Better than serviceable, which is a phrase that you used earlier.
Yeah, I like him. I like his tenacity. He's very tenacious on both ends, and
he's fun.
He's smart.
He's fun.
Yeah.
So, how did the Spurs get here? It took 7 games. 7 incredible beard-filled games.
Yeah, against another very high-powered offense. And again, that's where I think Kawhi is just his absence is really going to be felt tonight in shutting people down.
Game 6 against the Rockets. Manu Ginobili
went
with that block.
Old man Ginobili with that key block, and he had a dunk that game. When's the last time he's dunked?
I don't know, but it would have been really, really crazy if there was another second left on the clock, because it bounced to Patrick Beverley, I think it was, and he banked it. He banked a 3 after the buzzer.
Yeah.
So if there was another second and a half on the clock, game would have been tied. We would have gotten extra basketball. But Game 7, they won by 39 points. 39 points.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kicker. Kawhi was out. Kawhi didn't even play. And they beat the Rockets. It was in San Antonio.
I'm gonna put that on the Rockets
points.
more than anything, though. They came out with no fire. You can't get dominated like that, and that's the second time in a row. Last season, the same thing happened. They got dominated by over 30 points.
Here's how
to lose.
You live by the 3,
and you die by the 3. Yes.
If you're not making 3-point shots, you're gonna get beat by 39 points. If you're making 3-point shots, you might win by 39.
Right.
If you have no low post game, if you have no mid-range game, you're not going to win. And the only player who's got a decent mid-range game besides Harden is Patrick Beverley, and he was off. He was
that
way
game,
off.
yeah. He was good for most of the playoffs. He was going off in the round before that.
He was really good for most of the season.
And he was going off in the beginning of that series.
Yeah.
But somewhere, I don't know, they just kind of lost their flow. Maybe just felt intimidated. I don't know. But
Trevor Ariza was just not feeling it either.
Even so, the Rockets are not the Warriors. They don't, they might be a very offensive team, but the Warriors are the better offense. Even so,
the Spurs can still win tonight.
I'm not saying they can. I'm just going to say it's going to be harder.
In order to do that, LaMarcus Aldridge has to be LaMarcus Aldridge from 5 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been doing. He's been soft most of these playoffs. He's getting out rebounded by guys that he has a foot on. He's not backing people down. He didn't back down. What's his face on the Rockets? Like their shortest player, he couldn't back him down. I'm like, what's the point of being a big man if you can't back down even guys that are half your size?
You're right. I don't know, but he has to play well tonight, and I think he will. Patty Mills needs to play well tonight. Green needs to play well tonight. Manu Ginobili needs to play well tonight, which can happen, but it's not a guarantee. So
yeah, it's gonna be a lot tougher. I mean, them both having someone out might help it be a little bit more, might have a little bit more parity. But I just think Kawhi is, as we've said, he's very possibly the best player in the league. It's between like him, LeBron, and I don't know that there is
Isaiah
a third.
Thomas.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to tell with a guy like IT. His game's just so different because it has to be because he's like a foot shorter than them.
He's really, really great, Isaiah Thomas. And the reason he's different than other short people that have played well, Nate Robinson is one of the more recent that comes to mind, is he plays smart. He knows what he's doing. Nate Robinson was extremely out of control. If Nate Robinson learned how to control himself, he would have been a perennial all-star. Probably, on a great playoff team, maybe a champion with the Knicks. Because he was one of the reasons that the Knicks didn't make the playoffs, because they relied on him too heavily, and he was looking for highlights more than he was looking to score. Because we've said it before, with players like Amari Stoudemire, David Lee, Channing Frye, even when they had Eddie Curry was a good big man. He was fat, but he was very physical. And you got Jamal Crawford, Stephon Marbury, and then toward the end, Carmelo Anthony was there. How do you not win a championship with that talent? David Lee, Marty Collins, who was a really good, backup player. I just don't understand why they didn't win anything with those players. What's his name from Duke? Chris Duhon.
Yeah, it was a
really good team.
Bad times.
Yeah.
But
it's because Isaiah Thomas was the coach.
I think
not related.
Yeah. I don't think you can say IT is one of the best in the league yet. He's certainly had one of the best seasons, but I think you have to do that over and over and over again in order to be considered
I think he
one of
will.
the best in the league. I think he absolutely could, and we will see. As far as the series goes, I'm saying most likely Warriors take it. They are the favorite for a reason. I would love to see the Spurs take it because I would love to see Spurs Cavs. I think that would be a fun matchup to watch. But I'd like Durant to kind of get shafted a little bit for going to the super team.
Can you blame him?
No, but I still don't have to like it.
I mean, he's not young.
Yeah,
he's getting older.
Yeah.
Why stick around in a bad situation when you can go win a championship?
Well, was it a bad situation? I don't
Yes.
know. They messed that up. I think OKC had Harden, Westbrook, and Durant.
Not to forget, they also had what's his name?
Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka.
Yeah.
They had Enes Kanter, Steven Adams. They have good players.
Yeah.
It's just mismanagement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they didn't seem to think that Harden and Westbrook and Durant could all be on the floor together, which I disagreed with. I think you just needed to play them, let them all get used to each other. And you could have had, who's going to be able to guard all three of them?
Exactly, because Durant has shown that he doesn't need to be the guy to take the shots.
Yeah.
As long as he's winning, he's happy.
Yeah.
Harden, or not Harden, Westbrook, the only reason he's as crazy with his stats as he is because he feels like he's got something to prove because, Kevin Durant left.
Yeah.
And honestly, James Harden, if they still had Harden, Durant, and Westbrook, Harden would be the star, I think. I think Kevin Durant would be just fine as long as he's making his money and getting his wins.
The second, and Westbrook can pass brilliantly.
He did it when they had Harden, Ibaka, and Durant.
He doesn't mind passing. He's a contender, and that speed is just always a game changer. And you have Harden and Durant who'll be right behind him, and I think that was what could have been a super team, and it was just, as you said, mismanaged.
And then also, this might sound stupid, but would you rather be in Oklahoma City or Oakland? The nice part of Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather be in Oklahoma City where
there's nothing happening?
I mean, let's face it. There's still a lot of racism going on down there.
Probably less so in the city than in the rest of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
Here we go. Draft lotteries going on right now.
The Heat at number 14.
Yep. Heat get number 14. Sucks to be them.
Okay.
All right. Number 13, Denver Nuggets. Again, sucks to be them. But they've already got a guy that they can really hang their hat on, Kenneth Faried. So let's see who's next. Detroit Pistons.
They're a young team, up and coming. 12 isn't really good.
He does not look too happy.
Yeah. I think they wanted to crack top 10.
Yeah.
But
Charlotte Hornets. I think they're just fine where they are now that they've got their two bigs with Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Boogie Cousins.
That's the Pelicans.
Oh, yeah, it is. They used to be the Hornets.
Because it used to be the Hornets. Yeah.
All right. Sacramento Kings get number 10.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll be okay with that. I guess they don't lose their pick, which was a distinct possibility.
Yep. Dallas Mavericks at number 9.
Okay, here we go. Here's where I start getting nervous.
8. The New York Knickerbockers, and Clyde does not look too happy at all.
Clyde should have worn a suit made of basketballs. I said that. It would have given us the
okay. Joel Embiid over there just nodding his head and doing something weird, laughing.
He's just excited, I guess. Damn, that sucks.
So it looks like Minnesota Timberwolves get number 7.
Okay.
Not looking too happy.
Wiggins will be all right.
Yeah. Number 6 will be the Orlando Magic. Of course, no one looking too happy. They want to be in the top 3.
Yep.
Number 5, Sacramento Kings. They get 2 picks.
I thought they had 2. I thought one of those belong to someone else.